Thank you for joining me. This is What I've Been Thinking with Marcus Cage. Recently, I ran across a little story. It involved the Pentagon and the Confederate flag. Thought it was very interesting, so I wanted to go in and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that subject. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you. In recent news that I've run across, apparently the Pentagon has just came out with a new law or policy for all of the military installations. That new policy is a complete prohibition of flying the Confederate flag. I completely support and agree with that and wonder why it took so long. Many out there will automatically get excited and happy about that decision. You know, it is right on time. It should have been done long ago. Of course, that the Black Lives Matter movement has helped push them in this direction. But I have a little problem. It's nice that they're going to finally deal with the situation of the Confederate flag. The problem that I have is there are still at least 10 military installations that have Confederate either soldiers or generals named for it. Not only that, some bases which are not named for Confederate soldiers or generals still have statues of Confederate soldiers and generals on the bases. And then there's one that most people don't even realize. One of the highest honor, supposedly, for a vet is to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery. But what a lot of people don't know is in Arlington National Cemetery, there is actually basically like an Aunt Jemima kind of slave statue that sits right in the middle of the memorial. If we're going to get rid of the flags, then we need to get rid of all the things which are tied to it. And for me, being a veteran, it has been something which has always bothered me because I know a lot of conservatives like to scream about it's their Southern pride or their right or whatever nonsense they want to say. The truth of the matter is it was a breakaway from our government. It was fighting and killing other citizens. Whether your ancestors owned slaves, that's what you were fighting for. So you can't separate the two things. You can't decide that you're only going to take the heritage part that you like and then throw out the heritage part that you don't like. That's not how symbols work. You can't decide to take something that's been a symbol for a long period of time that's always meant something and decide that you alone are going to change that symbol and everybody else is going to have to adapt to that. That's not how things work, especially not symbols in this world. Now, if you're going to put out that symbol and you want to fly the Confederate flag and you understand the meanings behind it, this is a free country. It's free speech. You have the right to go on and do it. But you can't be upset for any criticism that comes back at you. Because just like you have the free speech and the right to fly that flag and to say whichever things which I may disagree with, it is also my right and people like me right to speak out against what you're doing and to criticize and to critique and to always remind people what that flag really means, what it stands for, what those statues mean. If you don't know, which a lot of people don't know, most of these statues popped up in response to various civil rights struggles or things that were going on at the time. A lot of this was put up by one single organization, the Daughters of the Confederacy, which I know it's not right to, say bad things about people, but I'm honestly glad that most of them are starting to phase out, because these women have been so destructive, and I believe kept a lot of the racism going in this country. Not only was it statues, which they helped put up in place everywhere, they also infiltrated most of the textbooks, especially in the South, and they have portrayed a victimhood of the Confederacy and a way to try to whitewash history and nobilize these men who decided to fight and die for this cause. So, with that said, I will leave it there. And, I can't change everybody's mind on this subject. I have my point of view. You're really not going to change my point of view. So if you disagree, I'm sorry. And hopefully we'll have some subjects we do agree on. Take care.